everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys, I'm going to be profiling for you my Blue Eyes White Dragon deck. I know a lot of you guys are probably wanting to see an update of this deck. I know you're probably sick and tired of seeing Blue Eyes White Dragon decks because everybody and their mother is profiling Blue Eyes White Dragon decks right now, I know. But as you guys should know, if you've been subscribed to this channel, I love Blue Eyes White Dragon with a very passion in my burning heart. So I did take this deck to locals, and I have been testing the deck out, trying to find different build that suits me. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can build Blue Eyes White Dragon, guys. You have Blue Eyes Chaos Max. You can have a build focused around the fusions like Blue Eyes Chaos Neo, the three-headed one. You can have ones that revolve around Pot of Desires. You can have ones that don't revolve around Pot of Desires, because even though Pot of Desires is good in the deck, quote unquote, and you can run it, I also found that quote unquote you don't really need the card in the deck. The deck functions perfectly fine without it, really. And personally, I found myself sending a lot of dragons to the graveyard and just going off like that, and maybe needing 2 vanillas. And I had some bad experiences running Pot of Desires in the deck online, so I kind of don't run it in the deck. But that's just me. But there's different ways. I did take it to locals last night and tested it out. I went 3-2. I should have gone 4-1, but whatever. I faced DDDs for the first time. I hadn't faced them in probably a year. I hadn't tested against DDDs online either, so I didn't know what they did and how to beat them, really. And I was learning on the fly. So I lost game 1 to DDDs. Game 2 I won against DDDs, and game 3 I lost in time to DDDs. Then after that, I faced GKs. I 2-0'd GKs. After that, I 2-0'd Dark Magician Girls, which was a fun deck to play against. Luckily, I knew the deck's inside out because I play the deck. After that, I lost to Dark Synchro. He went first. He ripped my entire hand. I couldn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Game 2, I bricked. Believe it or not, I bricked. There's nothing I could have done. Even with Pot Desires, I couldn't have probably done anything. Game 3, the next game, I played against Feldgrand Blue Eyes, and I 2-0'd that. My friend Will would jokingly say I literally drew every single trap card in my deck opening turn, which I did, and I just won from there, which was very interesting. But I didn't. He's like, "Did you stack your deck?" I was like, "No, that's the way the deck worked." So first off, guys, let's get into the deck profile now. We run 3 Blue Eyes White Dragon, staple vanilla. This is my baby I've had forever. I've had these ever since I started the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like I've told you guys over and over. These are my babies. These are my little babies right here, my 3 Blue Eyes Vanillas. You definitely run those. Then you run your 3 Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. Alternative is such a good card. You do have to remember that you can special summon him. So you can special summon him and pop a card on the field. Do keep in mind that I've been learning this ruling, and just from general, when you reveal, if you're playing against Blue Eyes White Dragon or whatever, like my friend Suji told you about a week ago, when you reveal this and then you special summon this, it's at the same time. So if they're going to max C you, they have to max C you on the melody, not on the special summoning of the alternative. Just so you guys know. But very good card, helps you go for rank 8s and level 9 synchro plays. 2 Spirit, you only need 2. You don't need to run 3. Some people like running 1. I prefer 2. 2 is all I've ever wanted. It works out very well. Next, we run our 3 White Stone of the Ancients. I don't have my side deck with me, guys, so I do apologize. I've been retooling that since last week. Next, I have the 3 White Stone of the Ancients. You run 3 of this card. Hands down, great card. One thing I want to say is before you ever end your turn as a Blue Eyes player, make sure you look through your graveyard, because one thing this is from personal experience playing this deck for a while, and I still sometimes do it once in a blue moon, you want to make sure you didn't send the Ancients to that graveyard so you can special summon something. Because sometimes you'll just forget and you'll be like, oh, my stupid move, I forgot to activate Ancients. So do keep that in mind. Remember to activate Ancients. Pretty much you can special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon, usually Spirit if you're going second to banish their back row. Or you can special summon out the Vanilla, which is nice. So, yep. And then the second thing is you can banish it from the graveyard to add a Blue Eyes Vanilla back to your hand, or Blue Eyes White Dragon. And then you can use Trade-In again, and it gives you more fodder for Trade-In. Pretty nice, I find. 1 White Stone of the Ancients, 1 White Stone of Legend. You only need 1. It helps you add Blue Eyes White Dragon to your hand. It's another target for cards of confidence. Overall, it's a pretty good card, really, and I do like it as a 1-of in the deck. Then we run 3 Sage with the Eyes of Blue. Staple as a 3-of in the deck, hands down. You have multiple targets. You have the White Stone of Legend, the White Stone of the Ancients. So you have these targets right here. You got those 2 targets, and me, I know people are going to say you shouldn't run this card. I get it all the time from everybody, but me personally, I like playing the card, and it's always been clutch for me, believe it or not, so I still run it. 1 Blue Eyes White Maiden, and you also have the 1 Effect Veiler. So you can search out all these different things just from Sage. Sage also combos off with Blue Eyes White Maiden, which is nice down here, but you can search off all these cards. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 targets. Usually you go for Effect Veiler. If you have cards of consonance in your hand, you go for a stone, usually on your first turn. But yeah, Sage is very good. It can also combo off with Maiden if you wanted to get 2 Blue Eyes White Dragons out in the field and go for a level 8, depending upon the scenario and situation. It does come in handy, especially mid-duel. You can use that effect. But I rarely use it, but it's just nice to have. So 3 Sage, 1 Blue Eyes White Maiden. People say cut this. I know. They're saying run Master because Master is so good. I know. Personally, playing the deck, I prefer Maiden over Master. Master, I found, is very good. It's a good card. Don't get me wrong. It's a very good card. And if you want to run it, go right ahead. The problem I had was either I was just adding back Effect Veilers, which was nice with Master, and things of that nature. But also the fact of the matter was Master could be dead very early on in the duel. If I got Master in my opening hand, he was just a tuner. That's all he was. Just a level 1 tuner that just sat in my hand doing nothing. Mid-duels, yeah, he usually did good then. Sometimes I always found myself, I never wanted to add the White Stones of Legend back to my hand. I always wanted them to stay in the graveyard once I get them in the graveyard. Just me. So you could run the Master, but I don't. I prefer the Maiden because Maiden, in a deck where it's pretty much offensive geared, it's just an offensive juggernaut, Blue Eyes White Dragon is, you don't really have a defense. And if your board gets nuked, gosh forbid, or they break your board, you're not going to have a defensive play. Maiden gives you a turn or 2 to literally give you a defensive play. Literally. If you're top decking and you top deck the Maiden, you normal summon it, it's better than top decking a Masters. And I've found myself in that scenario multiple different times. Maiden to me is just a little bit more versatile than Masters. Masters is a good card. Do not underestimate Masters of the Blue Eyes. But I just prefer, as a player, running the Maiden because the combo plays, the defensive capabilities of this card. I know people say it's a slow card. I'm not running it like I used to back in the day where I'm like equipping Wonder Wands and mainly focusing around Maiden. No, it's a defensive card in this deck that bides me time in certain scenarios and is a level 1 tuner that I can use, which I've done sometimes. So it has its upsides, it has its downsides. You as a player can decide if you want to run it. But me as a player, it's brought me good luck and it's always been clutch for me. That's all I can speak for the card. But I know probably competitive play, nobody wants to run it. But me, it works for me. 1 Effect Veiler and 2 Max C. Some people like running double Effect Veiler. You could cut the Maiden for double Effect Veiler, but I always found myself just needing to search that 1 Effect Veiler and just using that 1 Effect Veiler in the duel. So I don't run 2 Effect Veiler, I just run 1. Max C you run 2 of. It's a very good card. What can I say about Max C? It's a great card in the deck for combo plays. Then we run 3 Trade-In. I wish I could run more of this card. I keep saying this. The card's amazing. It's literally a, how can I explain this? It literally sets your graveyard up with your dragon monsters that you send to the graveyard. So if you draw into a Reborn card, you can Reborn it. It also gives you draw power. I wish I could run 6 of this card literally, or 7, or 8, something. I mean, this card is so good in the deck. 3 Trade-In. Best draw card in the deck. Then we run 3 Melody, helps you search out your alternatives, send your stones to the graveyard, whatever the case may be. It's a discarding outlet, and it searches your alternative and Blue Eyes Vanilla. Works a lot better in the Blue Eyes Chaos Max because you can add Blue Eyes Chaos Max, but I'll probably do an update of that deck later on in the year, of that version of Blue Eyes. Next we run 3 Return of the Dragon Lords. Great card, really. Nothing more I can say about it. If they ever hit a Blue Eyes card, it would probably be this card. This card's amazing. And I agree with my friend Suji and just other Blue Eyes players I've been playing it with and talking to and people online. From experience here, you want to activate this as soon as you can. If you got a Blue Eyes in graveyard, waste it. I don't care. Because the fact of the matter is, this is going to help you out more in the graveyard than in your hand. So if you have like a vanilla in the graveyard and you can make it a level 8, go for it. If it's a dragon. Because people are going to try to bait this out of the graveyard. It'll protect you. And if you have this, ultimately, when I play this deck, first turn, if I'm going first, turn, I want to have a Spirit engraved. I want to have a Return of the Dragon Lords in graveyard, or a Spirit in hand on the field, Return engraved, maybe a stone in the graveyard, and a trap on the backfield here. If I have that set up, I'm golden. So, 3 Return of the Dragon Lords, definitely running as a 3F. I love the card. And I'm sorry I'm wheezing right now. I don't know why. I'm just probably talking so fast and not breathing. Then we run 1 Silver's Cry. You can run it as a 2-up if you want to, but I just prefer 1-of. It's a quick play spell, which gives it benefits to reborning your Spirit and your Blue Eyes White Dragon. So, 1 Silver's Cry. I still love this baby. So good. 2 Dragon Shrine. Run it as a 2-up. It's great opening hand. So in your first 3 turns, Dragon Shrine will usually be live for you, unless you went for Dark Matter. But usually Dragon Shrine would be awesome. You can set up your graveyard, get things set up for Soul Charge and different plays and whatever. It's amazing. I run 2 of it because 2 is the perfect number I've always found for Dragon Shrine. So I run 2 Dragon Shrine. Next, 2 Twin Twister, more discarding outlets, setting up your graveyard and blowing away your opponent's back row. What can I say? It helps against things like, what have I seen before? Anti-spell fragrance, anti-spell fragrance, light imprisoning mirror, things of that nature you run into. So I definitely like the 2 Twin Twister. Next for your 1-ofs, 1 Soul Charge and 1 Cards of Consonance. Some people like running double Cards of Consonance. That's fine if you want to do it. Me, I like it as a 1-of because I can search it out, use Sage, search out a stone, activate Cards of Consonance, pitch it to the graveyard, draw 2 cards, get an effect later on that turn. It's a great card as a 1-of. More than 1, I'm kind of hesitant on. It's a good card though. It gives a little bit extra draw power to the deck. Sometimes I am pitching it though. Soul Charge, it's a win condition in the deck, hands down. If you open up like a Dragon Shrine and a Soul Charge and a decent hand, that's a godly hand. You can literally win first turn. If you get, I literally find myself setting up the graveyard, Soul Charge on my first turn, make a very powerful board, set 1 or 2 traps. I'm sitting there looking nice and pretty saying, come at me, bro. And they're going, oh, that's a hard board to break. That's an uphill battle already. And it's really nice to do that. So Soul Charge definitely in the deck, hands down. Trap lineups, I run 5 traps. Some people may say I should run less. Some people say I should run Pop Desires. I'm a trap guy. I love my traps. Please don't hate. And depending upon if I'm going first or second, sometimes I take out the traps. Sometimes. Depending upon the scenario and the deck I'm going against. I will mention that. Next, first off, I run the Solemn Brigade. 3 Solemn Strikes and the Warning. Now that Solemn Strikes got the reprint, I find myself, yes, sometimes when I was facing my friend Will, I went through all my traps. And I also won 1 Vandy's Emptiness. I found myself when I was facing my friend Will, like in 2 turns, I had all my traps in my hand. The thing is with this deck, I like playing it as somewhat protect the castle with an offensive juggernaut. So what I mean is like, okay, I build a board, I set some traps, I wait for my opponent to see what they do, I counteract their plays, and then I go off. What I mean by that is, I want to leave an opening for them. I want them to attack me so I can know what they're playing if I don't know their deck and I don't know them. Set some traps for defensive measures, and then go off. But depending upon the matchup, I may take some of these traps. So like sometimes I find myself, oh, it's a bad matchup. Okay, well then I take out the Strike, I take out the Veiler maybe, if they're not effect-based, or depending upon the scenario. You may say, well, Seto, what about the Soul Charge and these Solemn Strikes and the Warning? Is that a lot of life points? Guys, it doesn't matter how many life points you have at the end of the day, as long as you're winning the duel. I'm just going to say that. And that's what this deck is, because it can put a lot of damage on the board very quickly. You can put 6,000 on the damage like that, usually. So this is the Brigade I love. Vandy's is great because you can make them beatable boards. Strikes are good for protection, and Solemn is a great card. So I love my counter traps. So that is the Main deck, guys, let's go on to the extra deck quickly. If you give me a second, please. Just organizing things here. So I didn't run these 3 cards, so I'm not running these 3 cards in the extra deck, but you can run them. So I do not run Burst Stream of Twin Dragon. You can run this if you want to. I do not run Heliopolis Sun, the Dragon Overlord. He just did not make the cut. He was like I wanted to put him in the deck, but I just couldn't find the room. When dragon decks become less prevalent, maybe in a couple months or so, I'll probably cut Dragulon out and put Heliopolis back in the deck. But till then, I'm just running Dragulon. And then I don't run Michael anymore. I never found myself ever going for Michael. I'm always going for Moonlight Rose, always. So I cut Michael out of the deck because I really didn't find myself going for Michael anymore. So first off, your Spirit. Your 2 Spirit Dragons, my old secrets. I know they're cheaper now, but I still love them. Great card. You definitely want to run 2 of it. 2 Azure Eyes. You can run 1 with 2. Some people like running 1, some people like running 2. It's just up to you as a player to decide. If you want to make room for Heliopolis, maybe cut 1 out, but I like 2 of. So 2 Azure Eyes and 2 Spirit. Definitely a staple in the deck. Then we got your 1 Stardust Spark Dragon, your 1 Moonlight Dragon, and your 1 Clear Wing. So Stardust Spark Dragon, people don't understand why I run this card. Okay, if you have Vanities set, you go into this, you target your Vanities is going to protect itself. They can't Twin Twister it. You're going to have this on the board with the Vanities. It's kind of like what I used to do in Hunders back in the day when Vanities was at 3, and this card was legal over here in the TCG in America. You just go Violent Prisma, go into Star Spark Dragon, target my Vanities, GG. It's also good when you're siding in game 2 and you're going into your floodgates, like Anti-Spell Fragrance against Pendulums. You go this, target your Anti-Spell Fragrance. Sorry, boy. Because you can target himself on the end of your turn, okay? And target your back row, protect it. It's really good combos. Moonlight, great card, and Clear Wing, you can go into Moonlight, then normal summon level 1, and then go into Clear Wing. Simple. Clear Wing wins games too. For your level 8s, we run, oopsies, Felgrand, number 38, Hope Harbinger, Titanic Galaxy, and how do you pronounce him? I'll say the Sylvan High Protector, and also Dragulon. So, like I said, you can run Heliopolis, but Felgrand is still a good card. I know people say it's been power creep. I don't care. It's still a good card. Titanic Galaxy, great card. These are the 2 main ones you're going to. All Sierra is good if you're going for game and you just want to stack their deck a little bit. Just a little bit. Good card. And Dragulon's good for the Dragon Mirror matches. Sometimes you go for Alcé or Dragulon. It's up to you as a player to decide. But yeah, definitely like these cards right here. Then we run the Photon Galaxy engine, number 62 Galaxy Photon Prime Dragon, number Galaxy Ice Cypher Dragon, which is really good, as my friend, one of my friends Suji showed you last week. Then we have 1 Galaxy Full Armor and 1 number 4 Galaxy Eyes Full Metal Dragon. So what you can do is you steal their monster, then you overlay into Full Armor, or you can go into number Dark Matter. So you steal the monster, go into that, you can still attack with this, and they don't get their monster back. If it's an Exceed monster, that is, which is really nice. And I really like doing that to my opponent, because it's really bad and ugly, but that's the Photon lineup right there for you guys. So guys, I hope you all enjoyed this deck profile as I end it here. This deck is so fun to play. It really, really is at the end of the day. There's different ways you can play it. I know people are going to critique my build because they think it's bad, but this is the build I've been playing for the last month and a half. It works for me. You can run Desires if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. It works in the deck, but it's not necessary in the deck. You can have bad, for every time I run Desires, I get 1 game that's good and 1 game that's awful. When I don't run it with Desires, the deck works okay. Sometimes you get a brick hand, but that's Yu-Gi-Oh, man. That's Yu-Gi-Oh. And even if I said, oh, if this card was Desires, would it help? look at the top of my deck? Nope. So it's up to you as a player to decide what you would want to do with the deck, but this is just a template for you guys out there. So have fun playing Blue Eyes, guys.